This video is sponsored by Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Recently, I started trying to come up with cool, useful ideas for things that we could make for our new pool. I got super distracted thinking about pool noodles as a building material, so I bought these. It turns out if you find these on sale, like end of the summer, you can get them for 50 cents a piece, so I bought 60. It's hot out here, let's go inside. So I got to thinking, what if we built a connector system, like a building system for pool noodles, and then you could make whatever you wanted to. But before we can build stuff around the pool noodle, we have to know everything about it. These were created by Abraham Lincoln in the middle of the Civil War. I'm just kidding. Everybody knows everything about the pool noodle. It's a foam noodle. But there are some things we have to know about the pool noodle so that we can build things to go in them and through them and around them. But unfortunately, they're not all the same. Now, I didn't expect there to be an international standard for pool noodle dimensions, but I did kind of think like, this company makes them this way and this company makes them this way. These two are from the same company and they don't even look the same on the outside. Plus, the holes on the inside are different. Now, fortunately, the material itself stretches a bit, so I don't think it's gonna be a huge deal, but I still have to find measurements. And so since I have 60 of them, I have to find the median of the inside of all of these. So I'm gonna take some calipers, measure the outside and the inside, and then eventually take those measurements into Fusion and build some connectors. But we haven't even talked about how these things are gonna connect. The first connector I was thinking through is just some sort of an end-to-end connector, like a barb that goes in to this hole and into the other one so that you can put two of them together in like a butt joint. You could also take one and roll it around and connect it to itself to make a loop. And for this, what I was thinking is just some sort of a little barb end, almost like you would have on a plumbing fitting. These would kind of grab the material as you pushed it down, so it would kind of hold it in place, but I think you could probably still pull it out if you really needed to separate them. But then you also have to have the same thing going this direction so you can put it into another one. And rather than making all of that one piece, I thought about making these barbs separate so that they could go into lots of different sub-connectors. Basically like a sleeve right here that would connect two together to Fusion. Ooh, okay. Too big for the smallest one. My first attempt was wrong, so I made them again. So basically my first attempt fit in the really small holes, but it didn't work very well in the big hole, so I just had to scale it a little bit. But now I have this that goes into that, that goes into that. And if I glue these together, I've got a barb. Cool, so we have one connector that theoretically can fit in there. Then you can bend it around and connect it to itself. Cool, but obviously not a perfect circle because I've got a long straight thing right in the middle of this big flexible material. Now if I need to change that in the future, I can do a couple of things. I can make the center sleeve like half that length and it would work just as well, or cut off a couple of these and make the entire thing shorter overall. But I don't really care if it's a perfect circle at this point. Now this straight connector also lets us put two together. So if somebody wants to call Guinness, we can go for the longest pool noodle record. So when I think about this like from an engineering kind of perspective, this is the interface. It's the part that allows a connection to a different material, the pool noodle. And then this part is the connector that connects to other versions of this exact same thing. And that's where we can have a whole lot of fun. I think this is a great start. And with the simple connector between two of these, I think we can make a lot of stuff before we move on to other more interesting things. So first off, let's just try to make a raft. A pool noodle raft is maybe not the most original thing, but hey, you can use it. So I'm thinking that we have a bunch of noodles right here with connectors sticking out of the ends of them, and then they all go into the long section of another noodle that runs across here. So we need a reliable way to make holes in the side of a noodle that connect to our little connector pieces. So I made this. It's like a plug cutter for a pool noodle. I mean, you could cut a hole with a utility knife, but it might not be the right size. This is sized down from my other model. So this will make a hole that's slightly smaller than it needs to be so that this thing fits really tightly. We have right angles. That's pretty cool, right? That barb is a little bit long, but that actually gives me an idea. I'm beginning to see the possibilities in this. All right, let's try to make the raft. I've got 10 noodles laying across here for the raft, and then one that I cut in half, basically, for the ends to connect it all together. That's 11 already. I feel like I'm probably gonna have to buy more noodles, but I'm also gonna have to 3D print a lot. After printing 40 barbs, 20 connectors, and using up all the extra little bits of filament that I have left over, I think I have enough pieces to at least make the raft. Oh, that hurts. So this thing works. I mean, I showed you that it works, but I'm not gonna use it for kind of a silly reason. Sorry to take you out of the video for just a second, but last week I was playing a soccer game and I got hit in the ribs really, really hard, and I either broke or bruised a rib, so it hurts a lot to push that thing down with my left arm. So I'm gonna try this instead. That's perfect. All right, 3/4 inch bit. That's the way to go. It is very floppy to try to move at this point. I already see a problem. I kind of expected this to happen, but I wasn't sure how bad it would be. Both ends are gonna be connected. They should survive pretty well, but the center section, they're all loose and these things flex, so we're gonna have gaps and you might not be able to sit on it. I do have a few different ideas for fixing this. One, you could just drill a whole bunch of holes, use more of these and connect the whole thing across, but that's a lot more time, a lot more plastic, a lot more printing. So you could make some sort of a little, I don't know, a thin piece of connector that just goes through and kind of holds them together. That might work. The simplest way is to just lash them with string. This video is sponsored by SimpliSafe. We've had SimpliSafe for a really long time, but we added the pool recently, so we also added some outdoor cameras to make sure that everybody's safe out here, but also to make sure that there's nobody in our backyard who's not supposed to be. It's easy to keep track of that because SimpliSafe now has ActiveGuard. Now this is an AI-driven system that will keep an eye on your outdoor cameras to see if a person approaches. It can detect faces of friends and family, people that you know and you're okay with being around. But if there's somebody that they don't recognize, a live monitoring agent can actually talk to them through the camera. If need be, they can set off alarms and lights. They can even call the police. ActiveGuard is just one of the awesome things that SimpliSafe offers, in addition to awesome cameras and doorbells and sensors and all sorts of stuff. You can build out a complete custom system for your home by going to simplisafe.com/ILTMS. You pick the cameras and the doorbells and all the stuff that you want for your home, and it shows up in a box. You can set up the entire thing by yourself in about 30 minutes. I promise it's very easy. I would also recommend that you sign up for monitoring. It's about $1 a day. It's pretty cheap. You can cancel at any time. There's no contract, but it's absolutely worth the peace of mind, making sure that SimpliSafe is watching out for your friends, your family, and your home. And even though I think you're probably gonna love the system, they do have a money-back guarantee. You can get a full refund for 60 days if you're not happy with SimpliSafe. On top of all of that, you can get 50% off your system right now. Just go to simplisafe.com/ILTMS and build out your system for a great deal. Huge thanks to SimpliSafe for sponsoring this video. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Holds it together pretty well. Still gonna flex like this, which is good. Let's try it out. Totally fell apart. Problem was that I should have drilled the hole all the way through these so that the connection actually went through, but you know, I know now for the next one. But let's see if I can get on top of it at least. Oh yeah, hey, that works. Oh, it's actually pretty comfortable too. Okay, first impressions are it should be lashed in more than one place, not just through the middle. It works, but I can feel it spreading like around my shoulders, so lashing it maybe 3 times would be good. Also, if you were to buy the thicker pool noodles, they're also longer, which means my feet wouldn't hang off. But I think this thing actually works pretty well for a proof of concept. Other than my rib hurting, this is pretty great. This version worked way better and has not tried to come apart yet. So I call this one a win. Next up, I think we should do something totally different. Maybe some sort of a floating game, something my kids can play together, not just like a one-person thing. So after I'm done hanging out, we'll go inside and figure that out. So the raft worked super well, the second version. But with the game, we don't have to hold a person, so it can be more open, more geometric, more three-dimensional, which means we're gonna need some more connectors. I made some new connectors, and I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do with these just yet, but I wanted to point something out. This is a really cool corner piece. And other than modeling and 3D printing, I cannot think of another way to do this. And I think that speaks to how awesome it is to be able to take an idea, 3D model it, and then 3D print it. And I'm telling you that because we have a course called Fusion for Makers, and it's been out for several years, but right now we are in the process of completely reshooting, re-editing a brand new course for how Fusion is right now, and it's gonna be available soon. Also, that updated version is gonna be a free upgrade for everybody who's ever purchased the course. Keep an eye out, we're gonna have more information on it soon, but we've gotta figure out what to do with these things. So one of my kids said I should make 9 square for the pool, and if you're not familiar, it's a grid of 9 squares and you hit a ball from one square to the other and try to get people out, and it's pretty fun. Another kid said that we should make volleyball, and I think we can do both of those together to make something kind of interesting. So basically, instead of adding a bunch of circles and boxes together to throw things through, we're gonna make 9 square or 4 square and volleyball together. 2 nets that intersect in the middle, that cross like that, and then you got 4 kids that try to hit the ball over and just don't miss the ball like volleyball. And to make that happen, we need several of these. As soon as I started putting these together, I realized that this was not gonna work. Basically, it's the corners. There's nothing to stop this corner from twisting, from bending, and just falling over, so you can't really use 90-degree corners in any useful way. And I've been sitting here racking my brain trying to figure out a way to reinforce the corner or strengthen it, but I think the corners are the problem. So I wanna try generally the same thing, but make it out of a circle. And so effectively, it's like a half sphere cut into quadrants, and each person is in one quadrant trying to hit over 2. I'll show you what I mean. All right, well, this just didn't work. The little half sphere idea. These noodles are just not strong enough. They're too thin, they can't hold a structure, and when they bend, it's not consistent. Sometimes they bend in one direction, sometimes they bend in the other direction. So I think I'm gonna give up on this idea, but it's got me thinking, like, how do we make something stronger? And I think the answer might be bigger noodles. If you only have the smaller noodles, you can make shapes. You can make things to throw in the pool. People can dive in different sections, or you can throw a ball. You can make a game out of this. But I really want to figure out how to make something with some shape, something three-dimensional, something difficult. And I have an idea. Well, I bought the bigger noodles. I think they're gonna work out. They are quite a bit bigger on the outside, and the hole on the inside is pretty close. It's maybe a little bit bigger, but they are the same length, and I think that might be one problem. Even though the top one is thicker, they both have a tendency to bend quite a bit at length. So I think when I make this next thing, I'm gonna cut these down a little bit shorter. I want to try to make a giant dodecahedron. That's a 12-sided shape, and each side is a pentagon. And in that shape, there are 30 edges, which are gonna be the noodles, and 20 vertices. And each one of those vertices is where 3 edges joins, which is why I made this. And I still have to make 19 more. Now the big question is whether these things are gonna be strong enough to hold their shape. This is 49 inches long, and it flexes very, very easily. Now I found a cool little calculator where you can put in 1 dimension for this object, and it will tell you all the other sizes. If we cut these down to 36 inches, the entire thing is still gonna be over 8 feet tall. And that's pretty big. Plus 36 inches are gonna make these a lot less likely to flex too much over their distance. So step 1 is cutting down all the noodles. Well, they're just too flexible. I think I'm maybe being too ambitious with the shape, so I could try something smaller? Let's try with the offcuts, the pieces that are about 1 foot long. Well, it wasn't as big as I was hoping, but I did get it to work, and I think the problem is not the connectors, it's the noodles. Honestly, I only picked one path and went down it. I had something in my head, so I made connectors for that, but you could make connectors for lots of different things, so honestly, I just have to come up with some more ideas. Right now, I'm hot. I'm gonna get in the pool. Thanks for hanging out with me. Well, let's go to the shop and I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. Before we can build with the pool noodle, now I did not expect there to be an international pool noodle standard. Now the dodecahedron. I made some new connectors, and I'm not. Whoops.